What's up everyone, Nukin here and welcome back to the channel. So today I have the privilege and I'm pretty excited to showcase some exclusive Rey Jedi in training footage. So we're going to look at what she can do in phase 2 of the heroic tank raid. We're also going to see her facing some meta teams like the Night Sisters and the General Kenobi Zeta Barris team, and we'll also have a little fun and see a Resistance versus First Order matchup in Arena. We'll briefly go over her kit really quickly and then we'll jump right into that. So before we get started, make sure if you haven't subscribed to the channel already that you do that, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you learn anything, it really helps a lot. I appreciate it. So yeah, without further ado, let's go and jump right into her kit. Here's her character screen. She is a light side resilient resistance tank who avenges debuffed allies and controls the battlefield. She has 6 total abilities, a basic, 2 specials, a leader ability, that's right, a new resistance leader, and 2 uniques. Let's cover the abilities that have a Zeta, which end up being the leadership and the 2 uniques. Her leadership provides, with the Zeta, critical synergies for your resistance allies, so they're going to get critical chance and critical damage, so that's good. And whenever they score a critical hit, they have a chance to expose, which can't be resisted if that occurs. Resistance allies are going to gain turn meter when that happens, and potentially if they weren't debuffed, they can reduce their cooldowns by 1. So kind of like Finn, but it has a few sort of caveats. Her next ability that has a Zeta is her first unique, Virtuous Protector, and what that does is whenever any allies are suffering debuffs or they're gaining secret intel, so she has specific synergy with BB-8, which is very cool. Rey's going to get a bunch of turn meter, and when you Zeta that ability, she's going to be having a opportunity to cleanse herself, so that's very good. And then her second unique is called Insight, and with the Zeta at the start of the encounter, she's going to be gaining Foresight, and then when she evades, she recovers health and protection. And then if she has Foresight, she gains critical damage until she's damaged, and when she has critical damage up, she gains offense. So she shares some elements with Scavenger Rey there. So those are her 3 Zeta abilities. Let's go into her basic and 2 specials. So here's her basic attack. It's called Connected Strikes. It deals physical damage, and that damage has the opportunity to increase by 25% based off the status effects of herself and the opponent that she's attacking. So whether there's any debuffs or buffs on her or her opponent. So there's a maximum potential of increasing her damage by 100%, but most of the time you'll probably end up getting at least 50% of that 100%. Alright, here's her first special. It is called Defiant Slash. It also deals physical damage, and it inflicts healing immunity, which is not a new debuff, but what's unique about this is that it cannot be resisted and it cannot be cleansed. So it's kind of like a super healing immunity debuff. So never been done before there. She can also, on top of that, target any other resistance ally and cleanse themselves of their debuffs, and then on top of that, she can call them to assist and grant them Foresight for 2 turns, and this is on a 5-turn cooldown. And the last ability to cover here is Mind Trick. It's her second special. It's a single target dispel on an enemy, and then you inflict a bunch of debuffs like Ability Block, Daze, Offense Down, and Speed Down, and no matter what occurs, whether they're landing or those debuffs are resisted, you're reducing a bunch of their turn meter, which is good. And then for every resistance ally that you have active, she's going to gain a bunch of turn meter. This attack can't be evaded, and it's also on a 5-turn cooldown. Okay, so we just briefly reviewed RJT's kit. Let's look at her potential in the heroic tank raid. So this is phase 2 of the heroic tank raid, and I won't show the entire battle, but we're looking for her potential here. So RJT is in the leadership position, and we have Rey Scavenger, the original Rey, on this team. She actually works quite well with RJT in PvE content, that's player versus the environment, so like raids and territory battles. We also have the BB-8 soccer ball droid, resistance trooper, and resistance pilot. And let's start looking at their damage. So we have RJT hitting for 31k, Resistance Trooper hitting for 32k, and Ray Scavenger hitting for 53k on her first special, and that's not including the exposed damage, which comes from the leadership as well, so they're actually hitting for a tad higher than that as well. So that's a lot of damage potential, and that's because of the critical damage from the leadership from RJT, which means that you can do more damage, and actually you can mod your team more effectively to do way more damage in this phase, because the expose component cannot be resisted. All they need to do is crit. So if you can get some high crit chance and a bunch of flat offense and a crit damage set, I think you can probably do almost the entire phase. We're talking 60 to 80%, maybe the whole thing. I'll have to try and see, but there's a lot of potential here. So I'm going to try that out on the dev account when I can. Let's move into arena. All right, so here's our first arena battle to display. But first I want to say, disclaimer, the time in the top middle is 30 minutes long, and that's because this is a development build. There is no plans of ever increasing the arena battles to a half an hour per match, and thank God, that would be pretty insane. So we're facing a bunch of Night Sisters here. There is a Night Sister Ghost, which thus far has proven to not be as good as potentially like Night Sister Acolytes. So this isn't the strongest Night Sister squad, but the thing that I want to highlight here is, first of all, you can use Jedi, Ray in training, RJT, in this sort of legendary squad mix. I'm not sure if Wampa qualifies as a legendary character, but he's almost there. And if you look at the health pool of RJT, it is quite high after just being plagued a bunch. So very interesting that she's able to hold her own against the Night Sisters. She's basically carrying this team in this battle. Moving on to our second arena battle, this might be a team that you're more used to facing in the current meta right now. It is the Zeta Barris Kenobi combo, and they're protecting Darth Nihilus in the back. And the whole goal of this team is to basically have a wall behind Darth Nihilus until he can sort of annihilate your team one by one. Now, what makes this team difficult is you can apply healing immunity and buff immunity on Kenobi, but since he's taunting, and you're doing damage to him, he's going to end up having the lowest amount of life eventually when it counts. And the Zeta Barris also has a cleanse, a single target passive cleanse, but you cannot dispel the healing immunity from RJT. So I think the goal here is to apply that unique super debuff healing immunity and then focus that character down, whether it's Kenobi or Zeta Barris, and then once that happens, the team starts to fall apart. Another thing I want to highlight is this is a sort of trio of resistance characters, but it's also a hybrid team. We have RJT with her resistance scumbag droids. We have the trash can himself, R2Z2, which is R2D2 with double Zetas, and we have BB-8 here, the soccer ball droid. We need BB-9E in here. But RJT has specific synergy with the soccer ball droid BB-8. Commander Luke is just a great universal Titan team character. Kenobi's a great universal tank. I guess you could run Poe or Finn and add in another tank in that regard. I think you probably would want to run Poe over Finn because he adds another taunt. RJT doesn't have a taunt, even though she is a tank. But yeah, I mean, this squad is able to really kind of decisively take out and counter this team, which is pretty cool. I really like the ability to make Zeta Barris, kind of insignificant in arena, because she really ruins a lot of cool, interesting teams that could exist in the game right now. Well, alright, it's time to wrap up here with some good old First Order versus Resistance action. So, in this video, we looked at the kit of Rey, Jedi in Training, RJT for short. We saw some potential in the Heroic Tank Raid and also in Arena. And if all goes according to plan, I should be able to play with her myself personally and get a better feel for her on my dev account. So make sure you're subbed to the channel to catch that. Let me know in the comments section below if you want to see more RJT content in the raids or in Arena, and what team lineups you'd like for me to try, and I'll cover the comments with the most likes as a priority in my next video on her. So I'll let this battle run its course, but I'm out for now, guys. Thanks, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Cheers.
Ain't on the macho like Randy. The chopper go out to the granny. This nigga pull up your bandit. The killers understand it.